Okay, so UV mapping. So UV mapping is simply a way that we get to convert a flat texture like this one. Okay, so we get this texture and then we project it onto a surface like this one, which is not flat. Okay, it's deformed in some form of nature. So this is the general idea behind UV unwrapping, and this applies to all 3D software out there. Okay? So you first have to create a texture like this in a flat kind of mode, and then you get to project it on a surface. Okay, so if you were to go to Google, okay, from some of these models there, Google, if you look at this model, so we have got the world, we've got the earth over there, and then oh, it's going to showing these arrows talking like that. So you're going to have the texture like that, you're going to have the texture like that, and then you're going to project it onto a surface, which is a spherical surface like that. So if you add the texture and the surface, you're going to get that end result. Okay, then if you check out this one, if you check out this one, so you have got a box, and if you cut one part of that box, if you cut like this front part of the box will be able to flip open. If you cut another edge, it will be able to flip open. If you cut another edge, it will be able to flip open, and then eventually you have everything lying down like so. So it when you come to humans, yeah, so if you have the human head, if you want to unwrap the human head, you have to pick a point at which you can cut the head so that it can lie flat, like as you can see in the screen. So you cut like at the back where there is no cuts, we call them seams. Okay, so you make a seam at the back, which is a cut, and then you unwrap it so that it forms something that is more like symmetrical. And when you project this texture onto a head, it now wraps up correctly. So this is the same idea that I'm going to use in this tutorial. And for our model, I think it's quite easy, but they're going to find complex scenarios where you will need to do some complex cuts and so on. All right, so I will go to my tabs on top here. There's the layout, modeling, scouting, and then there's UV editing. So this is where you want to do your edits from, the UV editing tab. So when you're in this layout, you're going to see you're with the UV layout and you put your model over there. Okay, so if you want to make you unwrap, you go to your model, make sure that your model is in the edit mode, so hit tab. And if you don't have machine tools, if you don't have machine tools, you can use the buttons 1, 2, and 3 to move out of the fix mode, edge mode, and the vertex mode. Okay, so we're just going to select all the polygons there. So just hit A on the keyboard to select everything, and the moment you click A, okay, you're going to have this. Okay, you're going to have something pop up in your UV layout over there. So for our model, Blender has already done its calculations. Okay, they've done its calculations, and we have got a good we've got a good layout already there. Okay, in some complex cases you have to go into the model and start making some cuts and like, but this tutorial is not for going into depth with UV mapping. If you want to learn more about UV mapping, you can check out Blender Go's intermediate course. I think it has got a little of explanations on UV mapping or UV unwrapping. there's a lot of YouTube content that you can find on UV unwrapping. Like, so different models will need you to do different operations. Okay. Okay, so let me just select this with O, with A. I think my screencast keys have disappeared, so let me just hit N on the keyboard, screencast keys, and okay, yeah, okay, that is okay. That is okay. So I'm going to select everything there, and I'm going to apply a material to this object. Okay, so in order to apply a material to this object, you come to this icon here with this P selected. Come to this icon here, which is the material properties. Click on it, okay, and then say add new material. Okay, so if you were to hit the key on the keyboard and go to your material preview, you must be able to see some material preview. So if you go back to this tab over here, you can see this is what we call base color. So if you click on this base color, there's this point there. So if you begin to change, if you begin to rotate, you see that it's beginning to change. We're now applying some material to this thing. Okay, so I'll just put them back to default. Okay, so we want to put a texture on this thing, which is our wildcard label texture. So what we will do is we are going to bring up the nodes, what we call nodes. These help us to map our texture much easier and better. You can use this workspace here, but this is not an ideal way because there are some options that are not available in this start. Okay, so I will hover over down here on this edge between these two what's this, interfaces. So just bring it over there until you see that mouse, then right click, let's say right click, and then say horizontal split. So this is going to more like split our screen like that. Okay, split our screen like that, and let me bring this like so. So yeah, and we can hit on this editor type to bring it to shader editor, and then in our shader editor we can just drag this off. So we have this node, so whatever is in this node, this is the same thing that is in there. Okay, so if we want to bring in a texture, the best way and the easiest way to bring in a texture is to use an add-on. Come to your preferences, go to your add-ons. There's a built-in add-on in Blender called the Node Wrangler. So let's type in node and node wrangler. So enable it. By default it's off, so enable it. And then when you're in your editor sheet there, what you need to do is click on the material that you want to edit or to apply the texture to, then hold Ctrl and T on the keyboard, and then you'll see these nodes pop up. Okay, so these nodes will help you map your texture to the base color, okay, of this texture. Already, if you look at your model here, the color has changed. So in this texture input, you need to open where your texture is if you want to create a new texture. So I'm going to open, and this is my texture that I have. I'll provide these links. So you click on it and open it. Okay, so once I do that, you see that our layout changes. See, our texture is brought into our UV layout. It's also brought into our view there. Okay, so I think let me bring this down like that so that you can be able to see what's going on. Okay, yeah, that. So these polygons here are just showing where the texture is. Okay, so let me go to my face mode. Yeah, so they're just showing you points at which, so if I'm look at the screen, this other part of my screen. If I click on any polygon, you see any polygon that I click is appearing on the side. Okay, so if I hit Control A, so we have got that. So what we're going to do is scale these polygons so that they fit this texture all together. Okay, so I'm going to select everything, then hit G on the keyboard, move it down to like so. So this is the UV mapping. So you're just going to be using two coordinates in here, which is the X, Y. So you've got the X. So if you G on the keyboard and X, you're going to be moving in your horizontal. If you hit Y, you're going to be moving in your vertical. Okay, so we'll bring it to like so. Then we're going to scale it in the vertical, which is the Y. So S and Y, we're going to scale it like so. I think like so, and then we're going to push it down a little bit like that. Okay, let's push it down like so, that, and there we are. You see, it's mapped. It's already mapped where it's mapped where. Okay, yeah, I think that is okay. That is okay. If you want, you can fill up this whole thing, you know. You can play around with this whole thing. Let's say you scale it around the edge, like so. No, let's scale this. Let's scale this up like so, and let's bring it down. I think something like this should work out. And when if we were to go back to our layout mode and then we hit Z and go to our material preview, and there we are. We have our texture all mapped up. Okay, it's our texture all mapped up, and that is UV mapping in a nutshell. Like I said, this is just a small tutorial to show you how you can create product vision, not really going into depth with UV mapping. Okay, so yes, so see you in the next part, guys. Thank you.